Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. Brought to you by AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to help Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives.
Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show, special edition. We're celebrating 100 years of the Hawks, but I'm going to talk mainly about your career, if that's okay, Bud.
Let's talk about yours, not mine.
Nah, let's talk about yours, because you were one of the greats at the Hawthorn Football Club before you deserted us and went off to the Swans. But we loved you being at the Hawks. You were so exciting. So when I talk about the Hawthorn Football Club, 100 years, you know, they started off, they had their struggles, then they had success, and then through 80s and 90s, great success. And then when I turned up, we went backwards. And then when you arrived, we went forwards again. So what does the Hawthorn Football Club mean to you? Obviously, you went off to the Swans at some stage, but I know how much love there is for the Hawks and what they did for you.
Absolutely. I think, obviously, getting the opportunity as a 17-year-old to move across to Melbourne, it was between Richmond and Hawthorn, and God, I'm so lucky I went to Hawks. I really am.
So did you think it was going to be Richmond?
It was between either Richmond or Hawthorn, but I remember my dad saying, "You want to go to Hawthorn." I remember
did he really?
saying that, and I was like,
he said, "You want to go and hang out with Shane?"
Yeah, it was mainly because of you and Hodgie, but I think
I forgot about him.
It is such a proud club. It really is, with such a rich history. Some of the greatest ever players to play for Hawthorn through the 80s, very successful footy club. Not so much in the 90s, and then early 2000s. That's when we did the rebuild and were able to get a heap of kids in, and the three-peat, 08. It means a lot to me, this footy club. Yep. It's an incredible place, great culture, the people are amazing, and what a special occasion to mark 100 years of this great club. Unfortunately, I won't be down there for the celebration, but you'll be down there. But I think we've just had so many great players over the years, and what a celebration it will be.
I'll tell you all about it anyway. So would have been nice, but you're going to be
I'll be in
on
Perth.
the opposite side of the country. So I can still remember when Jared Ruffhead was drafted to the Hawks along with Jordan Lewis.
Before we go there,
it was a dream come true for me, because I just wanted to get an opportunity to play AFL football. I had no idea I'd go to Hawthorn. I thought I was going to go to Carlton or North Melbourne. But then again, I thought maybe year 12 I'll be drafted, but I was drafted when I was in year 11. And I was drafted off the back of, I did kick 112 goals that year, so I do know what it's like.
What assumption.
And do you know what? When you arrived, I was going to do sort of, as an older player, I was going to go forward, a bit like a Dangerfield, and just be be like the forward.
Or something,
no, be the key forward. Because I said, I think I can kick 100 like I did back in year 11. No, but it was just a dream come true. When I first arrived, there was players like John Platt and Jason Dunstall. Dermot Brereton arrived one day, first pre-season, in a red Ferrari. And I'm thinking, I just got off the train. And then the next day he rocks up on a Harley Davidson, and I'm like, wow, maybe one day I can have something like that. But Chris Langford, Gary Ayres, Chris Mew, like I got to do pre-season training with such legends. Darren Jarman, who's one of my all-time favourite players. And it was just amazing. And even though we were going through a period where the older players were finishing and it was a total change, I at least got to play 3 or 4 years with some of the all-time greats, and it was so special. But
how was it to play with Bung?
Jason Dunstall.
That would have been pretty incredible.
Jason Dunstall, well, the thing about Jason Dunstall, he trained his backside off. He trained really hard, because back then we all trained the same. Yeah. Midfielders, defence, we all trained the same. We'd do brick circuits. We'd run the roads. Yeah. Obviously training very different. I remember pre-season we didn't even touch the footies until Christmas, because they said, no, we just got to focus on our fitness. And then we couldn't hit a target. But Jason Dunstall, after every session, would be out there with George Stone, manning the mark, doing his goal kicking. And do you know what?
We spoke about before.
He would always kick it. So he was a wonderful player. And John Platt and Darren Pritchard. I love Darren Pritchard as a player. I could go through some of the all-time greats. I love Tony Hall before he went off to Adelaide. But It was fantastic. And thankfully you arrived off the back of that draft, and I'd sort of given up a bit of hope because we'd lost a bit of direction. Yep. And thankfully, there was a couple of players along with Jared and Jordan who, just wanted to have an impact. It was great. I remember the first time we really spent a bit of time when we did Kokoda.
We're not going there, Shane.
No, but we went to Kokoda. Yeah. And carrying these huge packs.
Mate, come on.
And you're thinking, no, I won't go there because there's quite a funny story with it, what you actually had in your backpack. But what an introduction. You would have been thinking, oh, hang on, I don't know if I really want to play AFL football walking through the jungle.
It wasn't good either.
You're not really good from a camping style.
Well, actually, no, me, Ruffy and Lewis, we were staying at a hotel just next to the airport, and we decided to have a few drinks the night before.
Oh, no. Did you? How did we not sort of recognise that?
And then we finished up about 2:33, and then we had to be on the flight at 6.
Yes.
And then literally straight on that flight to Port Moresby.
Yes.
And then into a little chartered flight.
Mm-hmm. With a gated hotel. We weren't allowed outside the hotel room.
It was eye-opening. Obviously, coming from Perth as a 17-year-old, I think what better way to connect with new teammates. Like I think there was relationships built in that week. It's like unbelievable, really, because you're walking, you're talking, you're getting to know someone, you're helping each other out. I think it's just a great way, especially to set up a culture of the footy club. This is what we want. This is obviously Clarkson, his first week at the footy club. I think it was just a great way, and they ended up doing that for another 10 years after, I think.
Yeah.
So it was awesome for kids to come in.
It was great to do something a bit different, but it was hard. And because the first couple of days we were going really well and we were covering a lot of ground, so I remember they woke us up one night and they just said, start digging. It's like middle of the night. You're like, what? Just start digging with your hands, with sticks, and you had to dig for an hour. And that was all sort of relating to what the soldiers had to do. They had to dig trenches and be in the trenches and just wait. So, it started to get really, really hard. But what about when you first started, your first introduction to playing at Hawthorn in your first couple of games? What were you thinking? Because you had to play on good players. You played in a side that was struggling. And, you would have probably started to question, gee, this is not going to be easy.
I think, especially coming in at 17 to a team that was down the bottom of the ladder, that first 2 years was pretty difficult. I think, obviously, being so young and playing key position, I think there was a lot put on us at such a young age. But I think that made us the players we were, really. Like, to get that opportunity to play, 40 games in your first 2 years. Obviously, the team was getting blown away by most teams, but I think in that second year we won a few more games, which was good. But it's a really good, quick learning curve, really. And it was hard. Like, as a senior type player, I knew that we probably weren't going to win, which is really hard to run out there. But I also knew that we somehow had to fast track the development, and that meant playing players who might not be ready to play on a good player, learn how the good players go about it, learn how physically strong you need to be, endurance-wise, where that needs to be, which you've always had unbelievable endurance. You could run better than all the midfielders. You could kick the ball better than a lot of the midfielders. No, you could. Your field kicking was unbelievable. Because didn't you play as a ruckman in your juniors? I think most guys that came through were in the midfield, really. You think all the kids?
Because I'm thinking, put Lance in the ruck.
No, absolutely not.
Put him in the ruck.
I went in there one time, and it was against Will Minson. He kneed me in the rib, and I was scared. I was scared, mate. And Clarkson said, "No, we will never put him in there again."
Well, we would have appreciated your run. So 2007 was good. We started to really build. We hit the finals. We played Adelaide in the first final, and Buddy Franklin on fire. Everyone says you won us the match, but I thought my first half was pretty good. No, but that's when you really sensed I belong. I can really grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And didn't you kick 70 something?
Odd that year,
yeah, which is your third year. So were you 21 then? 20. So you're still 20 years of age. You're kicking 70 plus goals, and Yeah, everyone knows Buddy Franklin.
Well, I think, the first year and second year were obviously building, finding out a lot about your body, how much you can push yourself, putting on weight, getting stronger. And I think that third pre-season is when I really felt comfortable and go, okay, I'm feeling strong, ready to go. I'm running really well, lifting weights. When I first got to the club, I couldn't even do a push-up. So that's saying
yes.
Showing you how far, how green I was. Like I'd never even went.
You
to
couldn't do one push-up.
Couldn't do one push-up. I think I had to do it on my knees. Anyway, but like it just shows you how far away I was from doing anything like that as a kid. It's like to what it is these days with the academies and all that. They're professionals at the age of 13. They're ready to go, whereas I was green as ever. But 2007 was a good season. It really was. We were building momentum. We had some, like Hodgie was playing really well. Sam was playing really well.
Yep.
You had your knee troubles, but you were still playing really good footy. And then we were just young and up and coming. We obviously had a few older players, but we were young and up and coming. Everyone was getting that, learning how to play together. I think that was a big thing. Like connection, learning how we wanted the ball delivered, how a midfielder comes out of a stoppage, right, left. There was a lot there. Like it was hours and hours and hours of work to make sure that we knew exactly what we were going to do. It wasn't just, they're naturally gifted players. They're just going to get it. Like this was pre-season. Like we'd work our absolute butts off to get where we were.
And the first 2 years, we were like questioning whether or not Clarko had any idea. It's like, what are we doing?
We're like North Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah, we're handballing through a tyre to practice our skills, both sides of the body. But yeah, it's like even kicking the ball inside 50. I'm not allowed to run and try and be front and square to the ball. I don't need to do that. I need to set up so we can win back the ball if it does come out. And then you guys need to understand that even if you don't win it, you need to somehow slow it down as much as you possibly can to allow us to fan out so we can get ready to capture the ball and hopefully give you another opportunity. So 2007 was a big tick on our development. And then 2008, we obviously did extremely well and then got to the finals. Actually, let's talk about Carlton. I was really disappointed I didn't get to play in that match. And I remember you saying,
tendonitis, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember you saying to me, I'm disappointed you're not playing. And I felt you made me feel really bad because we were heading toward the finals. And I said, if I'm to play in the finals, I need to not play this. Yeah. And I'm like, I really want to be playing in this match because I knew that you were going to kick your 100th goal. Even if we had to handball the ball to you over the top in the goal square 20 times, we would have done it. But that was incredible. Seeing you kick your 100th goal in that match, Favola gets stranded on 99 when Clarko said that don't let him kick 100. It's Buddy's day. You end up kicking 113 for the year and 88 points. That's a lot of fines coming your way. So that was an amazing year, wasn't it? Was that your best year ever, or because you had some pretty good years? How many All Australians did you get?
To beat that, you'd probably think.
How many jackets? 8
jackets, but I think it was a pretty good year. It really was to average 4.5 goals a game.
Yeah,
but like I think when you're in the moment, you don't realise what a season it was.
Yep.
I think it's like you when you won the Brownlow, I don't think it's when you're in that moment and you're in the zone, you just love going out there competing, and whatever comes with it. But yeah, it was a special season, and then obviously the 4 weeks after that to win the flag.
Yep.
Especially we went into that game underdogs. Geelong were the best team all season, and there was no real pressure on us. It was like we can just go out there, have fun, enjoy it, and whatever happens, and we just all went out there and we had a crack, and we everyone had a smile on their face.
We had a smile on our face at the parade the day before.
Yeah,
it's like just smile, wave to everyone, even the Geelong supporters sticking their fingers up at us. We didn't care. And I remember looking in the paper on the day of the game, and I saw Chance Bateman with a huge smile on his face in the parade, and I'm like, we're just enjoying the moment. Whereas I felt the Geelong, they were expected to win, and it sort of felt like they didn't want to be there at the parade. It's like, this is an inconvenience. Whereas I'm like, no, this is like our Olympics. this is the grand opening, or this is the opening ceremony. This is all a part of it. Yeah. Just embrace it. But our form in those other 2 finals games, we've actually had those games won by half time. So our form was red hot. So I don't care what anyone says. Everyone says, oh, we got lucky in the grand final. I'm like, go and have a look at the 2 lead-up games and how convincing we were. Any outsider who'd never watched AFL football before, if you're watching the final series, you'd go, this Hawthorn team, gee, I reckon they can win the whole thing. So we were ready. But we're also hanging by a thread too, because there was a lot of, I remember seeing so many pain-killing injections in the doctor's room. I've never seen so many before in my life. I reckon I counted 16, and I'm like, we're hanging in by a thread, which pretty much was one of the reasons I thought, no, it's time to finish, because I reckon next year is going to be tough, because we're going to have a lot of players miss pre-season. But what a day, 208, how good.
Oh, it was incredible. I think it was just an amazing day. As I said, there was no real pressure on us. I felt like we just went in as underdogs. As I said, we had a big smile on our face, and I think that's what happens in grand finals. I know I've lost a few, but you can become tense, and it can be overwhelming. And I think, especially when I felt in my last couple years, probably 4 or 5 years, played in a few grand finals, you can feel the pressure a little bit.
Yep.
I think when you're young, there's no real pressure. You just go out there and play, and you know, once you get a little bit older and a bit more mature and realise that these things don't happen often, that's when you can become tense. And I certainly did as the years went on. But back
became
then,
more tense.
Yeah, you just felt the pressure a little bit more, and I think that definitely affects what you go out and your performance, because you're overthinking things, and there's no doubt a lot of older players that have been around the game for a long time would know that feeling. It's just about relaxing and enjoying the moment and having fun with it. I think that's a big thing.
Now, when we won in 208, it was amazing. Stewie Dew obviously pushing himself forward, and I think that's where the great coaching came in, because we had flexibility to move spots as long as you were fulfilling those roles and doing exactly what was required. So I think he connects with Aussie and says, mate, I'm exhausted. Can you go back? And pushed himself forward, and then Stewie Dew went to work, which was incredible. But for me, winning, it was about the supporters, just seeing and family members and friends.
Those supporters after the win, after the celebration, I remember being at Glenferrie, and all the supporters were around the bus.
Yes.
And they were shaking the bus. I was just like, how good is this? But it was just like the whole of Glenferrie just went off, and it's moments like that you sort of remember and reflect and go, it means so much to so many people, and that's the best part about AFL football, and the supporters, they absolutely bloody love it.
Yep.
And to bring the joy to the fans' faces in 08 was incredible.
And that's what I love. Like, obviously we didn't have a lot of success, during the 90s, early 2000s, but I felt like I was the connector to everyone else who had played during that period, and I thought I'm an important connection to everyone else, because we went through a stage, 1996, where we almost merged with the Melbourne Football Club. It was so close to happening. I was told that I might be captain of this new team.
What are they going to be called? We don't want to...
Well, you got the
Melbourne,
the Demon,
Melbourne
and the Hawks, the Dorks.
The Dorks. God, how sad would that been? That would have been 100%,
terrible. Like, Melbourne would have missed out on a history-making flag, and then Hawthorn, obviously, a few flags as well. But all the older players were told, listen, we're probably going to go young team from Melbourne and Hawthorn, which, you're going to have some great young talent and possibly, a premiership team. But...
And so who was really important through that period for Hawks?
Well,
was it Ian Dicker?
Ian Dicker was amazing at trying to keep the club.
Scott, was he a big
Don
part of it?
Scott was very vocal. There was a lot of amazing supporters behind closed doors, and we as players were told it has to happen. Yep. So we were sort of lied to a bit, which was really disappointing when we look back. But the Melbourne supporters, they voted yes. Hawthorn supporters said no way, and... Oh, how good. It's great to see Melbourne, win a flag and turn everything around there, and then obviously Hawthorn turn into the club that that it has become. So that was pretty special. But for a few years off the back of that, we had no money.
Yep.
We couldn't really attract players.
Yep.
It was a tough period. And so all those players who weren't lucky enough to be a part of a premiership, I felt like I was heavily connected through 208. So there was a lot more than just being a part of a premiership. And then to see the supporters, everyone in tears, you know, it doesn't get any better.
Absolutely. But you even look now like how big the club is. It's huge. What, nearly, I think maybe 90,000 members. It's massive to see where it's come from.
And not the most markable colours.
I think they're beautiful.
People say poo and wee, but gold and brown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
huge.
It's been incredible.
Huge.
It really is a family club and a club that I look back on, and like anything, you have your ups and downs and you think, what's going on? And we lost our direction at times. We've got nothing but love for the footy club and appreciate getting an opportunity, and I'm sure you'd probably feel the same way.
Absolutely. One of the great clubs with past players. Yes. Reconnecting with past players is really important because, you know, everyone's gone out there and played their absolute hardest for the footy club. I think connecting with past players is really important, and Hawthorn do it better than anyone.
Yep. And obviously having a great love for a footy club, but you needing to go to a different city, you know, because you were huge, like you couldn't go anywhere without, especially in Melbourne, but you also had a love interest, who is your beautiful wife, Jacinta. So, and I remember speaking to you, and I know there was lots of tears because you knew that, I need to step away, but I've got nothing but love and admiration for everyone, the footy club, the coaches, the supporters. Yeah. That was tough, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Well, it wasn't an easy decision. I think I was toing and throwing with it for a year and a half on whether I was going to do it. I really enjoyed my time there, but the other side of it where I just couldn't live my life. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It got to the point in my last year and a bit there where I just didn't leave the house. Yeah. I'd go to and from the club and straight home, and I was like, that's not the way I wanted to be living my life. So it was a difficult decision, one that I didn't like. It was hard. It was hard, but you know, things happen for a reason. And for me at that stage of my life, I needed to change and go to Sydney. And look, I've got a beautiful wife and 2 kids, and
you made great friendships at Sydney.
Great friendships, and look,
great love with Hawthorn still.
Absolutely, I've got great love for Hawthorn, got great love for Sydney. So I think everything works out for a reason, and was able to win 2 flags, and that's the most important thing at Hawthorn, and that I'll be connected with the Hawks forever. And
we are so grateful that you went to Hawthorn, and you even made training fun and exciting. No, you did. When you was zipping around, and then you got Cyril doing what Cyril does. Like, I've never experienced training like it before. And yeah, it was incredible. So even as a football lover and someone who was heavily involved in the team.
I think you take that for granted too. Like when you're training and you're having fun, like you've got Cyril running around, you've got Sean Burgoyne, you've got you've got Ruffy, Hodgie. Well, these guys are all-time greats, and the ball's not even hitting the deck. It's just buzzing around.
And then you've got the coach, Sam Mitchell, who's trying to get to the front of the line every time then being annoying as he was.
Yep. So, but we feel very blessed, don't we, Crawf, to have played with some of the greats. You had both eras. You had obviously 1940s or whatever it was for you, and early 2000s with us. But no, like we both feel very blessed to have played with this great club.
All right, I think we'll finish up there, but we could go for hours and hours delving into a lot of stuff. But we want to wish Hawthorn all the very best with their 100-year celebration. If you're a supporter of any football team, come along.
Have you seen the jumper?
With all the names on it? Yes, I haven't been presented one yet.
I've been presented mine already. So
yeah, see, that's where we've drifted. I was loyal to the football club forever.
You were.
Stayed forever.
You wanted to go to Sydney too, that's what I heard.
Even during tough times, I didn't jump ship. But no, I'm looking forward to having a look at that. But Hawthorn supporters, but any football supporters at all, and obviously we're playing Richmond on Sunday. It's going to be a great celebration. There's going to be a lot of players from the past who are going to be there, and it's going to be one of those games that you need to say that you were there and, you witnessed a great celebration of a great football club. Just to finish with, 23 or number 9, which number is better at Hawthorn? You don't need to answer that. We'll let everyone else work that out, but they're both amazing numbers.
The best number at Hawthorn would be number 3.
Lee Matthews.
Yeah, I love Lee. Not Lewis. Was he?
No, number 3. It's either 23 or 9.
I reckon 3, 9. Obviously 23.
Or 34, the Wizard. We love the Wizards.
5. Like, they're all legend numbers, aren't they, really, of the club?
Good on you, buddy. Thanks for sharing that information. We love it. We love the Hawthorn Football Club. And, looking forward to seeing everyone at the Hawthorn-Richmond game on the weekend.
Hawkers. Go well.
Go Hawks.
Lance Franklin joins the 100 club. People power has spoken.
Crawford, who else? Who else but Shane Crawford?
Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. Brought to you by AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to help Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives.